Morning, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters and the Pathfinder School, coming to you from the Pathfinder classroom here in Southeast Ohio. Please, whatever you do not fast forward this video and listen to every single talking point, because this video may very well save your life. What I want to talk to you about today is a new partnership with the Pathfinder School and Overwatch and Rescue. If you're constantly training, then 99% of your problems can be avoided, barring any traumatic injury of some sort. And that 1% of the time that you may have an issue you can't handle, unavoidable. You've trained, you've practiced, you understand, you're knowledgeable, but there's always going to be that 1% of a chance that something can happen to you that you can't handle. And that's where Overwatch and Rescue comes in, and this partnership with the Pathfinder School will pay big dividends for you and may save your life. All right, so what I want to talk to you about today is exactly that. Pathfinder plus Overwatch and Rescue. This is your secret formula to success and guaranteed rescue in a wilderness environment should something happen that you can't handle yourself. Okay, again, if you're not familiar with the Pathfinder School here in Southeast Ohio, we train hundreds of people each year in survival and bushcraft and all facets of those two subjects, from basic, intermediate to advanced survival, bushcraft 101, edible medicinal plants. We are a Red Cross training facility for wilderness first aid and CPR. And we have lots of other classes you can choose from, including navigation and navigation intensive, to help you cope with wilderness situations and stay safe, all right? So we provide training, we provide knowledge, we provide skills. We've teamed up with Overwatch and Rescue, which is basically the company that every PLB provider calls when you hit that SOS button, if you are subscribed to their service, so that you can guarantee you'll be rescued. All right, so here's the bottom line on a couple things before we get started. Emergencies can and do happen. Even the most experienced people can have things happen that they can't control. Broken bones that make you become immobile. Accidents by vehicle, ATV, boat, all of those types of things can happen as well. Cell service alone in the backcountry is a very unreliable thing to bank on for emergency rescue. That's why people carry personal locator beacons like Spot, Defy, InReach, Zoleo, all of those different brands, okay? Rescue ops can cost $10,000 to $50,000, depending on the scenario and how much it takes to get you out. And that money comes directly out of your pocket unless you have some type of subscription service like Overwatch and Rescue that will cover those costs 100%. All right, let's talk about how this thing works, okay? It's a satellite-based SOS subscription service. It is purpose-built for off-grid operations. It's made for outdoorsmen, made for people who like to adventure off-grid. It is compatible with Garmin, Zoleo, Spot, iPhone 14, and some Android devices, okay? The new iPhones that have satellite-driven communications in them will work with this service. Here's how it works. I've got my Garmin. I carry this thing everywhere I go. Garmin InReach. Never leave home without it. Going out into the woods or anywhere else, out of state, on the ocean, no matter where I go, I have that InReach with me all the time. Press the SOS button. If you have a subscription to Overwatch Rescue, they receive the coordinates and they coordinate the rescue completely. There's no restrictions for altitude or hazardous conditions, and there's no monetary upper limit value. So no matter what it costs to get you out of there, they're going to pay it, okay? That's the guaranteed rescue portion of this that's so important to understand, right? Training is fantastic. Training can avoid all of this in many situations, but training is not going to avoid that emergency that you can't control. And that is that 1% where the subscription to Overwatch and Rescue is going to pay off the biggest dividends and may save your life. All right, so let's talk about the credibility of Overwatch and Rescue. They do 15,000 coordinated rescues on an annual basis. 15,000 worldwide. They service 220 countries, which means they are a global service. They've saved their customers over $10 million since the inception of this business in medical and rescue costs. And they're on risk currently for 15 million people on a daily basis. If you want to learn more or read some testimonials and stories about Overwatch and Rescue, you can go to Instagram at Overwatch X Rescue. That's Overwatch X Rescue, which is short for Overwatch and Rescue on Instagram. All right, so the next question is, when would I use this service? Here are some examples. You or someone else is injured. Now, there is a Good Samaritan service. They will coordinate the rescue, but it will come out of that person's pocket because they are not on the plan, unless they have the plan, obviously. So if you or someone else is injured, you can hit your button and rescue will be coordinated. A medical condition requiring immediate attention. Snake bite. That's a very good one in a remote area, okay? Lost or disoriented. Can't find your way out. Again, training plays into part of this. So we can avoid some of these things by training at the Pathfinder School, and we're going to talk about that partnership here in just a few minutes as well. Any emergency assistance that may be needed off-grid, a vehicle accident or breakdown in a remote area, or inclement weather where you require extraction. You don't have the proper things that you need, or you can't get something done to protect you from inclement weather, and you need to be extracted. That's another reason to hit the button, okay? These are just examples. There are lots more of them. Again, training will avoid some of those, and that's the importance of combining these two things and why this partnership is so important. All right, so now let's get down to the meat and potatoes, the question everybody's asking in this video: how much? And let's talk about the benefits of this partnership a little bit, okay? Here's the way it works. The Overwatch and Rescue subscription is $79.99 per year. That is less than $7 a month for I'm guaranteed to get rescued. That's pretty cheap life insurance, in my opinion, all right? But if you have attended a Pathfinder basic survival course, past or in the future, it's retro, all right? And you can show that patch, not just a certificate. You have to have patched the class or made 80 percentile in all deliverables at the course. You can then get an additional 15% off at Overwatch and Rescue, which makes your subscription $67.99. And there's a code for that. I'll put down in the description box as well. But you'll need to present them with that certificate and patch to receive that discount by email, okay? Overwatch Rescue subscribers currently can get 10% off of the basic survival course here at the Pathfinder School. So if you're already an Overwatch and Rescue subscriber and you want to up your game, learn more skills, get more training, and at the same time save some money, then you can get 10% off that class, and then your next annual subscription would also be 15% off with that code. So it's a circular relationship really between Overwatch Rescue and Pathfinder to help people, number one, get trained, and number two, be safe in the outdoors so that if something unforeseen were to happen, you can at least be guaranteed someone is going to come and get you. And that's what's important, okay? All right, guys, listen, I appreciate you joining me out here today for this video, and I know that some of that whiteboard stuff may be a little bit difficult to read. I'll kind of blow it up a little bit on the screen when I edit the video, but I'm not a PowerPoint kind of guy. You get what you get with me. It's always old school, all right? We're going to do chalkboards and things like that to explain things and put talking points down so that you can read them and better understand them. If you have any questions, you can definitely put them in the comments below this video. You can go to overwatchandrescue.com to get further information on that service. And obviously, you can go to selfrelianceoutfitters.com to get further information on the class that we teach here at the Pathfinder School in Southeast Ohio. All right, with all of that said, I appreciate you joining me today for this video. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, friends, and partners. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks a lot.